G'day traders, Sam here from TradeToProspa to give you another crypto review, and I'll do a few hopefully with the SP 500 following from this on. So let's look at Theta. Theta has some good news recently with the upgrade, and historically it's been a good solution for the media space. But anyway, let's look at the chart and let's break it down to what we think is happening and what is likely to happen. You can see from this perspective very clearly that this is very flat and this fits into our breakout trade. How does it fit into our breakout trade? You need to know what that is. And I'm not going to explain it here. That is a strategy that you need to do to learn. Either come to my course on TradeToProspa.net or otherwise learn from other sources. But the breakout trade, this fulfills a requirement, and the breakdown is what we're looking for. So let's go back to the bigger picture. At the moment, what do we have? If I give you my Fibonacci from the top to the bottom, you see this really play out very well, exact. So you've got Fib 1 there, all the way to the bottom, that level, it's 0, and look at that, perfect. That is acting as support. So if that's the case, what do you expect when it's going to break down? On the macro picture, it could likely go all the way down here, right? And you can see that level, that structure. If we were to grab that height as a measured move, we can also drop down to this level. And now let's look at that for a sec. Leave that there for a sec. And add a few more things that we observe. And the next one, we've got that fib. The next one is this channel. And it does meet our requirement. And you can see, and I use this a fair bit, very, very aligned to the middle of the channel and to the bottom of the channel. As this tool, you just pick the top and you stretch it down to the bottom and you see this alignment. Obviously, it's not going to always be, okay, that way. So what we do from my strategy, and self-taught, I suppose, is align my Fibonacci along with it. And now, if I was to just enable this with better lines, let's just put that into lining and make it thinner, too thick. And look at this, you can see the confluence of the levels. Perfect. Even to that there, like some of it slips a bit further down, but you can see how support is working. So what we have seems to be good. Then we have, let's just put this on, and you can see from my perspective, I'll just get rid of that. These lines are being our levels of support, and once we break these grind lines, you see price capitulate. So very important, these lines. And if I was to just leave it like that, you can observe the play. And if you're interested, you can see the formations. Formations do take place. And if I was to do something simple, just like that's our A, B, C, D, E, you can see the Elliott count within the formation works. Here we can't do it. It's too complicated. So there is a good chance that this could also pivot to the top. So what we have in the middle of this channel, right there, is a strong support and a resistance. So now what I'm looking at is this potential play. So we're coming to an apex. The apex, as you can see, is constant resistance, and we are basically, there's more touches to the top at this point. No, actually about the same. So this could actually, see this red line here, we can, let's make that a bit thicker. That is a key level. If we drop that, it's likely to go. There is a slight possibility that it could go just a bit of a fake out and then go back up, but you need to be watching it at the time. Like I said, with this measured move, you can see the measured move actually hits the bottom of the channel as well. Right there, it's aligned. So that could be our next target. Now, if I move across to the left and I get this volume profile, and the volume profile, yep, that's a red line, but really, that if you just look at that, the top of it is probably where we're interested, and that could be also our support level as well. You give or take, maybe we'll wick down to there, but that is, and then we've got the second one, the second volume profile there. So there is that possibility. And if I just copy that for a sec, we've got 2 points of control. It can be possible that we break down much further with a wick and then bounce back up. So this area of mine is of interest. So looking at this chart, this area realistically is an area of interest if this was a breakdown. And this could basically turn out to be our next elite wave count. And if I give it a go from this point, we can say that's a 1, that's a 2. The big move is 3, 4, and that's going to be our 5 count. Do we see any formations? Yeah, you can probably do it, but at the moment, it's probably not worth it. The only thing that I can probably look at is if you want to go bullish, you can see that pivot line also coming into place with that level here. So it's going to be pretty much a double trend line with confluence, 2 elements along with the Fibonacci. That's going to be pretty much a strong resistance, but you never know. If we break above that and this trend line, I would go in and probably look to sell there. So and that's pretty much back to where the range top is. So that could be a likely resistance. If we break above this, it's going to move very quick. Similarly, if we break below it, it's going to be very quick. At the moment, come tomorrow, SP 500 and the general markets will give the direction. I have a gut feeling that we are going to go likely more low on the SP 500 or Dow Jones, just from a historical perspective. When we look at the historical data in similar fashion from the previous charts in the bear market. So we might go a bit low before we go back up. October, I believe, is going to be a rally. So month of October, potentially to November and early December, we are likely to be bullish. So this early part of this October, we'll probably hit our good support, oversold conditions, and then we go bullish rally. But that doesn't mean it's the bottom of the market. It just means that we're going to have a good opportunity to go long. And let's look at the indicators. So from this chart, this is the daily. We're still pretty bearish, and momentum's to the downside. So there's no reason why I should be bullish at any time soon. Looking at the RSI on the daily, probably let's go down to probably an 8-hour chart, maybe see a bit different. Okay, so it does look like we're breaking down on the 8-hour like that. Might just hook back up a bit before it drops down, but it doesn't really give us much. You can see this is problematic, and it's about liquidity and so on. And the squeeze is pretty much coming in. The indicators aren't going to really help us out here, except showing us that there's downward pressure. With my Phoenix, if you look at the Phoenix in the past, in a bear market, they don't really help. They keep dropping. And so these tend to be saying over conditions, oversold conditions, but they don't really help indicators at the moment. So what we have to rely on is experience and judgment and levels. So right now we have this smaller broadening wedge in a way, doesn't it? And we've got our levels. So that's an important level at this point of time, and that's another important level. So if we look at this on a small time frame, it's going to be hard to trade. I would say that if I get that, Where am I? And I'll pick the top as one. Let's see how this fits in. Yep, that sort of is it. Yep, that's probably making more sense. There we go. So we can just make those lines thicker. And we can see the confluence with Fibonacci. So we are below this Fibonacci level. And right now we're just looking for support. So we might just get a little bounce here if you're willing to for the short term. But best not do that. Just wait. But I do see this coming to an apex. So let's look at this right now. I'll just make that darker. And I'll just get rid of that for a sec. And these are my levels with that Fibonacci would pretty much explain what's going on. Definitely, we've got many resistances here at the moment. So let's do this just to articulate. Downward pressure, downward pressure, downward pressure. That's 3. Upward pressure and upward pressure. So this is going to be a very critical level. If it's to drop, we might get support there or this level here. So that's the small range you can do. When to go long, like I said, to go long, let's just get that line out. We need to break this level. If you want to go long, and we want to break this downward one. So we've got two lines that we want to break, and it's worth just waiting. And to trade to the downside, it's going to be difficult, but there is no good entry at the moment. It's just a matter of observing. I do think if it comes down here with no big moves on the Bitcoin and so on, then this level should be a good level to buy for the short term. Just wait for sort of a downward. This is the 80 hours, isn't it? Bugger. So that could take a bit of effort to go back up again. But yeah, I will wait for this level to break to short. Wait for the bounce. Look for the reversal. So what we do, just if price was to break down, we see the cup shape, and then see a bearish candle, and that'll be our entry. We want to see rejection there. If it breaks this level, we want to see come back up. Sometimes it doesn't come back up. It could be really bad, traumatic, and then it could come all the way down here based on this fib line. So it could just run through this quickly. But we are looking for setups. We are planning, and so this is a downward perspective. And if it was to come down, give us a chance. We could do the short. That I will be looking to short there. It's not the best position because we only had 2 touches. I do expect the third touch to bounce off it and then get a rejection, and then look for the fourth one before it breaks. I'm more interested in the third touch complete, get a bit of a rise, wherever it comes to. I do believe there will be a rejection here, unless there's a big rally in the stock market and therefore Bitcoin. Otherwise, I do see it coming down and so on. So I'm going to leave it at that, guys. Hopefully you like it. Hopefully it gives you some ideas, looking at the big picture, looking at the local perspective. And that's what I've got at the moment. So please give me a like and share, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.